Jacob, live stream okay alle?
live stream
live stream keriyo? Okay. Mridula.
Good evening. Hope you all had a wonderful day. It's indeed a great pleasure to welcome you all to the second session of Hub, the international webinar series organized by the Postgraduate Department of Psychology, Kottayam College of Management and Technology. I, Mridula Philip, along with all the organizers of the webinar, welcomes you all to this wonderful session to enrich ourselves with the enlightened thoughts. Prayer is not asking. It is the longing of the soul. It is daily admission of one's weakness. It is better in prayer to have a heart without words than words without heart. These are the words of Gandhiji. Thus, I welcome Serin Fernandez of First BC Psychology for the prayer song.
Am I audible?
Yes.
സർവേശ്വരാ നിന്നെ ഭജിച്ചിടുന്നേ സത്യസ്വരൂപാ നമിച്ചിടുന്നേ സർവേശ്വരാ നിന്നെ ഭജിച്ചിടുന്നേ സത്യസ്വരൂപാ നമിച്ചിടുന്നേ ആനന്ദദായക മോദിക്കുന്നേ അദ്വിതീയനേ ശക്തി ദർശിക്കുന്നേ സർവേശ്വരാ നിന്നെ ഭജിച്ചിടുന്നേ സത്യസ്വരൂപാ നമിച്ചിടുന്നേ സത്യസ്വരൂപാ നമിച്ചിടുന്നേ.
Thank you, Serin. Next, I would like to call upon Ms. Sherin Joss, Assistant Professor of Psychology, Kottayam College, to deliver the welcome speech.
Good evening, Honorable Chief Guest, ladies and gentlemen, and dear participants. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the second session of Hub, International Webinar Series organized by the Department of Psychology at Kottayam College of Management and Technology, Chennai. I would like to take this opportunity to extend a warm welcome to our chief guest and resource person for the day, Dr. Srilal Aravindan, Senior Clinical Psychologist, Kerala State Health Services, Thiruvananthapuram. Next, I would like to welcome our beloved principal, Reverend Father Joshi Chiramkuri CMI, for his constant support and inspiration for organizing this webinar series. Hearty welcome to Dr. Verghese Anthony, the Vice Principal and Head of the Commerce Department of Kottayam College, for being an unfailing support for all our academic endeavors. Next, I'd like to welcome the Head of our department, the Dr. Angel Thomas, for her passionate guidance and contributions in this regard. I would also like to welcome the Joint Coordinator of this event, Ms. Binita Rose Benning, for her unwavering support. I express my warm wishes to the IQAC coordinators, Dr. Sushil George Joseph and Dr. Anuhani, for providing such a platform for us. My sincere welcome to all the department heads, to the teaching fraternity of Kottayam College, and all the participants watching us. The Department of Psychology at Kottayam College was established in the year 2014. Ever since its inception, the department has been working constantly for its success. Today's webinar will be on the topic Hurried Woman Syndrome, a syndrome that often affects women juggling work outside the family and home, with symptoms mimicking depression. It's high time that we discuss about this particular topic. Without further ado, I would like to thank each one of you for joining us today, and I hope that the session will be beneficial for you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a privilege and joy to have Dr. Srilal Aravindan as the guest speaker of the day. I request Shalumarin Thomas of First BC Psychology to introduce the speaker before us.
I am extremely honored and excited to introduce our guest speaker for the day, Dr. Srilal Aravindan, who is a renowned clinical psychologist with over 20 years of experience and is currently working under the Kerala State Health Services in Trivandrum. He had completed his master's from Kerala University, followed by an MPhil in Medical and Social Psychology from the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, Bangalore. He received his PhD from University of Calicut on the topic Early Behavioral Intervention for Childhood Autism. He has worked in Balavikas Teachers Training Center, Perurkada, and later in SRCCD non-profitable organization in Ullur, Thiruvananthapuram. Dr. Aravind has also worked as a principal in CH Mohammed Koya Memorial State Institute for Mentally Challenged, Pangapara. Currently, he is working as a clinical psychologist in Government Mental Health Center, Trivandrum. We are absolutely honored to have you here today, sir, and we look forward to having a fruitful session with you.
Thank you, Shalu. As we are about to start with the session, I would like to remind all the participants that you may post your doubts or questions in the comment box, which would be clarified towards the end of the session. The feedback form will be shared in the chat window at the end of the webinar, and e-certificates will be provided to all the participants after the submission of the feedback form. Now, I invite Dr. Srilal Aravindan to begin with our webinar on the topic Hurried Women's Drum. Sir, we are all ears.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I express my sincere thanks to all the staff of Christ Jyoti College of Management and Technology, especially my favorite student, Dr. Angel Thomas, head of the Psychology Department, for inviting me to present the topic of Hurried Women Syndrome in this international webinar. Hurried women are usually on the top of the ladder, both professionally and socially. They seem very protective, but they appear always busy. Most of the hurried women don't aware of the harm it is doing on their body and mind. It is affecting a large number of female workforce. In India, urban women have to tackle pressures from home, office, and other responsibilities. Most of our hurried women not aware that they are in danger of having hurried women syndrome and perceive it as not. Therefore, I think addressing the hurried women syndrome is very significant. Next slide, please. Slide. Yeah, thank you. Dr. Brent Ross, a US-based gynecologist, who coined the term hurried women syndrome. And he said it affected women between the ages of 25 and 55. And especially he used this term. Why he used the term? Because it seems to underlie the cause of the problem, which is stress and hurry. Busy lifestyle choices that a lot of people have assumed are normal. It is also known as pre-depression. And this term is very much confused because usually people observe this condition as normal because of its commonality. among other public. Next slide, please. So just we go to what is hurried human syndrome. So for that, we are to describe the characteristics of the hurried human. The sense of joy that living life used to bring has mysteriously evaporated. They love coffee, you know. They love coffee to the point she feels deprived if she cannot get her daily fix. So the joy, usually people enjoy, but for them, they feel that it is not at all there. It is disappeared from their life. When you ask the question, when you ask somebody, like if you ask them that how they feel, often their answer, they say that is so busy or stressed when someone asks them. That's the answer usually they give. So busy or stressed. This type of ladies, women, has painful menstrual cycle or terrible premenstrual syndrome or debilitating menopause. She could demolish anything or anyone in her path leading into menstruation. Next slide, please. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, next slide. So slide is not coming on the screen. Shall I continue? Hello?
Yes, sir, please continue. I think it's a technical issue.
Yeah, right. Okay. But slide is not coming. Can you see that slides?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So I just explained about the profile of this hurried woman syndrome. So I'm continuing it. She feels overwhelmed often and can feel a sense of anxiety and panic. She can feel her heart racing even when she is sitting still, and she feels like she is running on adrenaline. She feels so tired, but wired. You know, when we tired, we are out of stock. The energy will be very less. So our functions like going to down. But for these people, even in tired condition, they feel that they're wired. That's a lot of information going on there in their brain and is continuously processed in their brain. And she never feels, the hurried up woman never feels there are enough hours in the day. While trying to achieve as much as possible, she checked emails in the bathroom or at traffic lights or late at night. She sleeps too little and often can't sleep restoratively, and she's not getting a deep sleep when she goes to sleep. She often finds herself compromising sleep to get jobs done at night. She spends no time in solitude, feels there is no time for self, and believes these things to be selfish or a luxury. She just don't have time for it. That's what she feels always. She don't use time for herself, looking after herself. She always worried about others, and she want to make others happy, not for herself. She is irritable, or as I prefer to say, rigid, is uncompromising. She never wants to compromise for executing her activities for others. She overreacts easily, even if she doesn't display it outward. You cannot, when you look at her, you cannot judge that she is overreacting or she is overwhelmed by something. But internally, she always shown that she loves less than she used. She has a to-do list that is never ever crossed off, and that bothers her. So she prepared every morning a lot of to-do list, but when the end of the day she found that nothing is executed, and she is bothers about it, that she is not having much time. She has a digestive problem such as bloating or irritable bowel syndrome. She has a clouding of consciousness or a brain fog. That is, she only notice is there on random day when it is not. And because of that, she found that this kind of the Hurried woman usually talk a lot. They keep on talking, and they are more obsessed with irrelevant things, and they are sometimes confused, and that confusion makes them even more worse, like may have clouding of consciousness. But others cannot find out that is there. She often goes to guilt as a common emotional pattern. She beat herself up for not being a good enough partner, or wife, or mother, or friend. She feels anxious without her cell phone on. She can catch herself constantly pushing the and thinking, what if I do this? And text or phone call. And go back to the contrary, feels as though she eat her arm off. She gets so angry. She takes short and shallow breaths and can often become breathless. She also may sigh frequently. She finds it difficult to relax, particularly at night, without wine. There are some classical Hurried woman syndrome. They are associated with this Hurried woman syndrome. Fatigue. They have low mood. They may have weight gain. They may have low sex. These are the four classical symptoms usually going along with the irritable bowel syndrome. Fatigue, moodiness, weight gain, low sex drive. Fatigue is most common feature of the Hurried woman syndrome. Most Hurried woman syndrome, most Hurried woman has anxiety, which they don't know why. They used to avoid social situations. Physicians reporting that fatigue is the most reporting symptoms by Hurried women for seeking medical help. They can't feel better even after a resting period. Second, moodiness or mood swings. Difficulty to differentiate down mood from fatigue. When there is low energy left, they feel irritable. Constant pressures leads to further worse than low mood. Third one, weight gain. Overweight or obesity. Going along with this, lack of exercises. They may have lack exercise because of their fatigue. This fatigue again will increase because of lack of exercises. Means on the run, they rush for their needs and seems like a necessity. but this badly affect their diet, which drives their weight up and their mood down. The fourth symptom, low sex drive. The woman's sexual drive may be influenced by several factors: physical, hormonal, emotional, or situational. The primary causes of low sex drive for women as one, not enough time in a busy schedule to have fun. And second one, a strained primary love relationship, often a result of the same busy lifestyle. She may be troubled by spouse, children, or work, pull her in different directions, causing a lot of internal stress. She doesn't want to fail anyone in life. This needs hers and theirs can bear down as strongest women, ultimately lead to Hurried woman syndrome, and that again lead to major depression. Children are frequent sources of stress for Hurried women, but they are not always recalled for symptoms of syndrome. Professionals, business owners, and women in high power stressful careers who are child-free also experience the syndrome. Autonomic nervous system is a control system that acts largely involuntarily and regulates bodily functions such as the heart rate, respiratory rate, urination, pupillary response, and sexual arousal. There are two types of autonomic nervous system: sympathetic nervous system, which activates the fight or flight response, and second one, parasympathetic nervous system, is responsible for the body's rest and digestion response when the body is relaxed, resting or feeding. It is basically undoes the work of sympathetic nervous system after a stressful situation. Hurried women are more lavish on using sympathetic nervous system. So they are always in hurry. They are always in fight or flight mode. How stress and body-brain connection going on. Stress is defined in physiological terms as an internal response to an external stimulus. The stimuli enter into brain through 5 senses, will be processed and categorized. The brain is so powerful, act as a filter and able to disregard a stimulus altogether or partially. Brain uses complex chemical reactions and electrical discharges, memory of past experience, clues from present environment, and our present mood to process the entered stimulus. It then determines what our response will be. It will be physical, to run or fight, to tense or relax. It may be emotional, to feel joy or sadness, or to feel anger or remorse, or love or hate. And it could be expressive, to say something or keep quiet, smile or frown, reach out or pull out. When brain decides to respond negatively to a stressor, a great deal goes on the body beneath the surface on a microscopic cellular level. The brain modulates all activities of the body through release of several chemicals into the bloodstream. Example, cortisol and epinephrine. Cortisol and epinephrine comes from adrenal gland. Epinephrine increases the heart rate and blood pressure, release sugar into the blood pressure, bloodstream to supply extra energy and it sharpens our senses to meet the immediate threat or perceived.
Excuse me, sir.
Threat.
Sir.
Pardon? Yeah.
Sir, can you please hold the mic a bit closer?
Yeah. Okay. I will. That's okay now. Okay now.
Yes,
Can you hear? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what is the function of epinephrine? Epinephrine increases the heart rate and blood pressure, release sugar into the bloodstream to supply extra energy and sharpen our senses to meet the immediate threat or perceived immediate threat. So what is cortisol's function? It released into the system, enables the body to sustain this type of response for extended period of time, but not indefinitely. The release of epinephrine and cortisol helps us to react to or run away from immediate threat. The body is forced to sustain the fight or flight response for a long time. The action of these hormones, particularly cortisol, will begin to have some very negative physical effects. Recent research has pointed to cortisol as the primary hormone involved in the physical changes that occur in our body in response to prolonged stress. So, no doubts, stress can cause physical illness and imperil our health. It can affect our mood, appetite, our energy level, and our interest. The studies and observation very clearly stating that more than 70% of patients who sought medical aid have stress-related illnesses. So here I am showing a list of illnesses that either primarily result from or aggravated by stress. Stroke, headache, or tension headache and migraine, disease, high blood pressure, ulcers, irritable bowel syndrome, sexual dysfunctions, diabetes, all these are very much related to stress. And clinical observation and research indicates that if left untreated, over 30% of women with hurried woman syndrome will develop major depression. This is very dangerous situation that women are going to face. Those who are having hurried woman syndrome, out of 1/3 is going to face a major depression in their life if they are not cared or not treated properly. So there is a connection between Cushing syndrome and hurried woman syndrome. Cushing syndrome is a disease usually caused by an overgrowth cells or a tumor in the adrenal gland that produces excessive amount of cortisol. So the importance of cortisol in our behavior, we see. And we know that something happened in this adrenal gland and a tumor can produce excessive amount of cortisol. The primary symptoms of Cushing syndrome are fatigue, low mood, irritability, weight, low sex drive. Hello?
Sir, can you be a bit more louder?
More louder, okay. So Cushing, what is Cushing syndrome? Why importance for here is because both Cushing syndrome and hurried woman syndrome are having maintaining some symptoms common. So primary symptoms of Cushing syndromes are fatigue, low mood or irritability, weight gain, low sex drive, and the sleep disturbances and the skin changes. In hurried woman syndrome, we know that they are having fatigue, low sex drive, increased weight gain, etc. So both are maintaining some normality. The first four symptoms on the list as of hurried syndrome, the symptoms look remarkably similar. If left untreated, Cushing syndrome carries high risk for developing the same disease as those related to stress. High BP, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, ulcers, infertility, and depression. However, the vast majority of people who suffer with one or more of these symptoms doesn't have Cushing syndrome and usually have normal cortisol. How can cortisol be the cause of this stress-related illness yet not be elevated on a blood test? There are many theories to explain this phenomenon. Most likely, chronic stress causes cortisol to be released into the body in short bursts or pulses. These pulses are probably small and occur throughout the day, making it unlikely that a random blood test will catch a moderate elevation in cortisol level. However, these pulses could cause significant changes in body function and ultimately tissue damage, particularly if they occur in long-term period of time. Hurried women don't have Cushing syndrome because their cortisol level is normal, but cortisol is still one of the hormones implicated in causing stress-related illness like hurried woman syndrome. Finally, we are able to recognize that stress can cause physical illness and it can imperil our health. It is still hard for us to believe that stress can also affect our mood, our appetite, or our energy levels and our interest, but it does. 30% of hurried women have major depression if they are treated, identified, and untreated. Usually, hurried women do not meet the criteria for major depression. We all know that chemicals in the brain, that is neurotransmitters, specifically serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, are responsible for regulating anxiety and depression, and also has an indirect effect on energy level, appetite, mood, sleep, and sex drive. When this is in balance, feels good and healthy. And when too far out of balance, the end result is depression. The phenomenon of rebalance helps us to bear under the pressure. However, when stress levels turn up even higher or last too long, the system gets overwhelmed and we may experience more symptoms. The rebalancer can still put the chemicals back in order fairly quickly once the stress gets over. However, the natural rebalancer doesn't always function like we want. So there are three major balancing problems. One, because of the genetically defective rebalance, they may live with a long depressive mood. They may also have a family history of mood disorder. They need professional help. And second type of people, have a short-term rebalancer problem, like premenstrual syndrome in women. It is short one, and is regain. They used to regain their balance after this problem ends. Rebalance problem due to chronic stress or hurry. The hurried women are affected by this. So there are certain things to be balanced, make it balanced. But the chronic stress, chronic stress is always there. The person who experiences is not going to get away from that. They're forced to face that. If they are facing that, and then one particular characteristics of profile we mentioned earlier, that the hurried person is going to have a problem. Usually, hurried women are having this problem. Their problem is more related to stress, not because of their genetical defectiveness or a temporary one. So it is common, but is it not? So, around, in USA, their observation is that 1/3 of all ladies are facing the problem of hurried woman syndrome. So that is very huge, and it is very common. If it is something is very common, we feel that it is normal. But is it normal? It is this condition really just life. We feel that sometimes people used to say that, isn't this condition really just life? Or everybody is under stress and pressure. So why should we care about this, worry about this hurried woman syndrome? But just because something is common doesn't mean it is normal. The same holds true for hurried woman syndrome. Having fatigue, moodiness, weight gain, and low sex drive are not normal. So, what are the challenges to this idea of hurried woman syndrome? Three categories of skepticism when it is come to accepting the reality of hurried woman syndrome. The first one is the hurried woman who deny that they are not having any problem. Unconsciously, unknowingly, they are not accepting this, and they deny it, they are having a problem. So, second one, some who believes women with a depression are weak and should stop crying. These people are laboring under primitive assumptions about the nature of depression. This type of believers, we have to educate them for giving information about hurried woman syndrome and its consequences and its situations should be educated to change. There are some other people, the skeptics, don't want to acknowledge. They don't want to say that women can handle it or it is a sign of weakness. So these are the challenges we are facing. The people who deny, and some people are ignorant, and some are accepting it, but they don't want to extend outwardly present it because of some fear. So we are facing a lot of stress on the science and the drastic social change, creating that change. Usually we are unable to accept its change, and the speed of the social change, our mind and body is not going to accept. So like this, if women are facing frequent demographic shift, mothers with full-time jobs, stressful employment, delayed motherhood, etc. are common, and if it is adequately managed, the women are going to have hurried woman syndrome. So women should balance their work and they should give priority. If they feel that too much of stress, they should try to avoid that. So what we have to do for managing this? Common life stresses, just the list I mentioned: death, divorce, loss of a job, starting a new job, getting married, moving, chronic illness or injury, interpersonal conflicts, taking care of an elderly or sick family member, work-related stresses like being unhappy in your job, having a heavy workload or too much responsibilities, working long hours, unclear expectation of no say in decision making, working in dangerous conditions, insecurity about advancement or risk of termination, having to give speech in front of colleagues, and taking care of any other discrimination, facing discrimination, harassment. So, management of hurried women syndrome. Strategies that do not work. So, what we don't do. So, if we cannot manage like trying to be more positive, giving advice like trying to be more positive, everything will be okay. Just stopping worrying. Don't worry, I'll be happy. Thought stopping, or avoidance and numbing, and using for avoiding the stress, using alcohol, drugs, etc. It won't work. And sometimes I'm sure like it may work, but it's not a proper solution. And very interesting that 77% of the chronically anxious can improve with cognitive and behavioral strategies. So they need help, professional help. But usually, if they are able to handle their problem by simplifying their problem, just simplifying it, this is an advice for hurried women syndrome they're facing. If they are able to simplify their problem, prioritize and organizing it properly, they are not going to have hurried women syndrome. But usually it is not possible. They need professional help. So professional can help by just examining their problem individually, because each hurried women syndrome people are facing multi-facet problems. Their problem was not a single one. So they need individualized problem solving packages, like teaching them time management, then problem solving skills, and promoting their social support, or helping them to seek social support, and relaxation training, practicing mindfulness, and cognitive behavioral therapy. All these are very helpful, and sometimes with the psychopharmacological management also helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable time. It was indeed very effective as we got to know more about this topic, hurried women syndrome. Now, if anyone would like to raise a question, they could drop it in the comment box, and this would be then answered by our honorable speaker. Are there any questions? Sorry, Dr. Angel Thomas has asked, is there any cultural factors leading to this hurried women syndrome?
Yeah, I mean, if definitely socio-cultural atmosphere, environment is very important. And, but it is how this person is perceived, how this lady is perceived is very important. So even if 100 ladies in a particular rearing in a particular environment or living in a particular environment, all of them are not having hurried women syndrome. Some of them are having it. And usually some of them are having it because their perception about their surroundings. Usually it is very high in developed countries, in urban background. Like I mentioned about when you said, ladies are going to face more because their ladies are independent than our Indian ladies, Indian women, because they are taking care of everything at home. Equal importance for men and women there. So that could be, cultural difference, I think. So more programs are faced by more educated, people who are living higher standard, and they are not. They are lack those who are lacking social support. And Western, when you compare, our culture is more of a extended joint family or joint family. Nuclear family is very less in our culture, but whereas Western culture, they are either living alone or just nuclear family. So, very important. Yeah, that's right.
Is it related to any particular personality factors? Something like type A personality or something is related to this? Can you say such a?
Yeah, hurried woman syndrome basically is Ventro's opinion that when this chronic phase, the chronic stress, when the person is undergoing or facing chronic stress, it is affecting their biology. So frequent exposure of stress lead to having this syndrome, and they are not thinking about the personality. That is a different concept. But here, hurried woman syndrome or hurried woman are having this problem not because of the personality, because of their frequent exposure, the continuous exposure, this stress.
So there is another question. Rohit has asked, do we can consider hurried women syndrome same as GAD, general anxiety disorder?
Pardon? Can you repeat that question?
Can we consider hurried women syndrome same as general anxiety disorder?
General, okay. But usually a hurried woman, you know that for classical symptoms of hurried woman, where weight gain, fatigue, low sex drive, moodiness. These are the 4 classical symptoms. If there's more symptom there, it means they are going to enter into major depression. But here, the hurried women are not fit into that diagnosis of depression. It is considered as a pre-depression. That's why it is a pre-depression condition. And anxiety, generalized anxiety is very common because these ladies first they have this symptom of fatigue, very common in them, that they feel that their energy level is very low and they are very tired, always feel that very tired. And because of that, and along with that, physicians notice that they are holding some amount of anxiety, which they are not able to identify it. But it could be a generalized anxiety, but they are not going to fit into that category. Either DSM or ICD is very difficult. So if you cannot call them, they are having generalized anxiety disorder, but they are having a subclinical level of anxiety.
There's another question from Nancy Verghese. In which group of profession is it highly seen in case of working women?
Working, yeah, right. Those working women are going to have more possibility of having hurried women syndrome. You know that working women, they are the role of they have to work in the office. They have to look after their children. Their role is wife, their daughter, their mother, and so multiple. Usually, these ladies are prone to have this problem because they are multitaskers. The multitaskers are going to have more problem because they are not having problem, but they want to please everybody. They want to help everybody. They don't want to take care of themselves. So working women are going to have more problem because the lady, the woman is always sitting at home and looking at her home affairs. She may not going to have much problem. But again, I mean, they are not exempted from, even if they are taking care of home, it's a fair going to have. If they are doing this, not taking care of themselves, they are just taking care of others' business always, and plenty of things that they have to do. They feel that they have to do plenty of things and they don't have much respect. They are also going to have, but more bonus, the more vulnerable people are, they do job outside.
So Rohit has asked, why is it termed as hurried women syndrome?
Pardon?
Why is the name hurried women syndrome? Why is it termed like that?
Yeah, right. Hurried, busy, rush, all this, because these people are just like that. When you talk to them, they feel that they don't have time. They don't have much time to talk to you because they feel that they are always busy. They are stressed up. They have a lot of things to do. So they are restless. When you talk to them, that's kind of people. Immediately you can identify it. They are not hyperactive, but you feel that these people are just, they are restless, always restless. That is why they used this particular signs and symptoms. This type of people are very much, because these ladies, hurried women, are possessing all 4 symptoms. And along with that, always maintain this hurry, always they are hurry, and that's why they used this. He used, Dr. Ben used to hurry.
Simi Shanvas has asked, will it lead to an extreme condition if it is not identified in time?
Yeah, right. Very. Can you repeat that? I didn't get it properly. Can you repeat the question?
Will it lead to an extreme condition if it is not identified in time?
Yeah, right. See, it is a pre-depression. We can name it like that because the depressive symptoms are there. When you see the depression, major depression, people are having all this for along with other things because sleep disturbances, low energy and other things come under the depression. If we are identified a little bit earlier, and we can be treated. Otherwise, it is going to lead into a major depression, which that is very severe condition. They have to take lifelong treatment for that. It's controlling it is very difficult once you enter into a major depression. More than that, that stress-related illnesses just like ulcers, stroke, so many other post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorders. A lot of things that happen because of time. It is untreatable.
So, Seena Surek has asked, is religion plays a role in hurried women syndrome?
Pardon?
Does religion play a role in hurried women syndrome?
Can you repeat the question again? It's not able to. It's in between, there is some interruption. Can you repeat the question?
Does religion play a role in hurried women syndrome?
Age, you mean?
No, religion.
Religion, no, okay, fine, religion. Okay. Religion and hurried woman syndrome. It's not right at all. Religion, generally, see, hurried woman syndrome is more of a stress related. If religion is giving them much stress, definitely it will play a role in making women hurried. If religion is giving them calm, it is not a stress. I mean, usually we think that religion is not giving us stress. It is acting as a acting as a peacemaker. Yeah, it is giving a relaxation. I feel like that. If religion is producing too much of aggression, too much of control over us, and if they are putting do's and don'ts, and they are acting as if they are policing on us, then it is going to be a stressful condition. If it is not like that, then it is never going to be a harming effect. It is not harming us. Yeah.
So there's another question. Are they prone to health issues?
Yeah, definitely. They are going to have all the physical problems. And later it is going, some of them are going to have depression. I already mentioned around 30% of ladies are having major depression if it is unnoticed and untreated later in life. Again, it's a chronic stress. You know that the stress related disorders are already mentioned about a lot of physical illnesses, even cancer is possible, diabetes, cancer, sexual dysfunctions, migraine, etc. Is going to face here.
There's another question from the yoga practices beneficial in managing hurried women syndrome.
That's a problem for them. They don't have time for that. They don't want to look after themselves. They want to care about others. They are not going for exercises. Further, if they are not practicing, if they are practicing exercise, they are taking care of themselves, then they are not hurried women. Because of that lapses, they are having this problem. So if they are able to practice yoga, that means they are looking up, they think that something wrong with me, I have to take care of myself. If they are feeling like that, they are not hurried women. These people are not like that. They don't have time, always busy. They're not looking after themselves. They want to look after others. They don't want to make others unhappy. That's the type of people.
So, Devika Dilip has asked how to treat hurried women syndrome.
Yeah, it's just like stress-related disorder. No? It is a stress-related disorder. Exactly, we can do that like that. Treating is not because already studies point out, already mentioned in the discussion, around 77% of some of the studies mentioned 77% of hurried women who are having hurried women syndrome are treated with the CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, mindfulness therapy, then behavior therapy. All these are very effective therapeutic interventions for hurried women.
There's another question asked by Rhea Varghese. Is there a syndrome named Hurried Men Syndrome?
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah. This is a challenging question, sir. Yeah, it's very difficult to make others convinced that, because always we feel that this is not there, because it is very common. When you speak to ladies, especially working ladies, they will feel like this, but they don't want to agree that it is a disorder. I mean, it is not a disorder, because it's a pre-depression condition. I already mentioned. So we don't want to be a mentally ill. We don't want to be labeled as a mentally ill. So they don't want to consider it as a problem. And if you ignore this problem, then you face it. What do you face? You know that severe mental disorders, severe physical problems. I mean, it is there. This condition is there very well. And okay, I say that I observed this. I just conducted a survey recently, that is 1 year back, 2 years back, before this pandemic situation, among this working women. Around 150 ladies I just given this basic screening things, and I could find out that majority of them are having this problem. Majority, more than 60% of ladies are having. All of them are having these 4 basic classical symptoms. It is very much there. Then I asked about this condition. They are realizing that everybody is having this problem. Why should I worry about these things? This is the era. It's very common. No? So you feel that the common things are not always normal? No. If it is very common, that means it is not. I mean, we need not attend it. No? It is, you think that this is not normal. So it is abnormal. It is going to harm the lady who is having Hurried syndrome. Just closely you observe it and watch it. They may have so many problems. Physical problem, not only physical problem. Okay, they are okay. Hurried women, you know that if they are post-menstrual syndrome, when they Hurried women are having post-menstrual pre-menstrual syndrome, they may experience more than those who are not having Hurried syndrome. So from that you can see that these ladies are all their body is just like what always working by the help of adrenaline. You know, adrenaline is makes you fight or flight mode. No? So if you are always in that mood, you know that is it good? You have to be calm. No? Sometimes you have to come back to you have to feel the control of parasympathetic nervous system. No? You know, parasympathetic nervous systems control our calming system, but they are not. They are lavishly used by this sympathetic nervous system. They are always in fight mode. So it is there. I feel that it is there. Personally,
So there is one more another question. How long before Hurried Women Syndrome develops into depression?
Yeah, it depends upon the age and the presence of stresses, chronic stresses, whether that stresses are taken care of by them or they are getting proper care by whether they are taking care of themselves or they are seeking the professional help. If they are going for a professional help, definitely their depression is not going to develop soon. And if they are unnoticed and it is not taken care of by themselves or the others, and they are going to have depression soon. Hello?
That was the last
Hello,
question.
Mridula. Okay.
Hello, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, audio.
Thank you so much, sir, for that informative and enlightened session. We are extremely sorry for inconvenience caused due to the network issues. As we move towards the end of the Q&A session, I would like to welcome Kripa Marin of First PC Psychology to extend our warm gratitude to everyone who had worked behind this for putting up a great informative webinar. Kripa, over to you.
Mridula, am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah,
you are
audible.
audible.
Honorable Resource Person, Dr. Srilal Aravindan, our Vice Principal, Dr. Verghese Anthony, Department Head, Dr. Angel Thomas, respected teachers, and my dear friends, a very good evening to one and all. It is a great honor and pleasure to be chosen to deliver the vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion. First and foremost, I thank God Almighty for giving us the opportunity to organize a webinar series despite the unprecedented time due to COVID-19 pandemic. Next, I express my sincere gratitude to our resource person, Dr. Srilal Aravindan, Senior Clinical Psychologist, Kerala State Health Services, for enlightening us with a really informative session. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our principal, Reverend Father Joshi Chiramkuri, CMI, and without his support and guidance, this webinar would not have been fruitful. Thank you, Father. I also thank our Vice Principal, Dr. Verghese Anthony, for his support and guidance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I express my sincere gratitude to our HOD, Dr. Angel Thomas, and without her, this event could not have been such a great success. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I take this opportunity to thank the coordinators of IQSC, Sushil sir, and Joint Coordinator Anu ma'am for making this event a success. Thank you. I thank the coordinators of this webinar, Ms. Sharon Jose, Assistant Professor of KCMT, and Ms. Binita Rosbenny, Assistant Professor KCMT, and all other teachers of Psychology Department who worked hard to make this event a memorable one. Thank you, teachers. I also thank Abhishek Worki Abraham and Jacob C. Matthew of KCMT for their technical support. Finally, I would like to thank each one of you who have attended the session and thank you for your valuable presence and attention throughout the webinar. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you, Kripa, and thank you to everyone who had made this event a grand success. Our next session of the webinar series will be on 5th June, morning 10 a.m. Your e-certificates will be provided via email after the submission of the feedback form. Hope to see you all in the next session. It's been a pleasure being with all of you. Thank you and good night.